What's up, family? Back again. And if it's your first time, welcome to the channel. Let's just get into it.
While Trump is out here posting AI pictures of himself walking with an alien, a former CIA-funded government researcher named Hal Puthoff and the director of the movie Age of Disclosure, Dan Farah, went on the Diary of a CEO and said that
people who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least four separate types.
But what you may not know is that 57 years ago, the government also detailed 4 species of aliens that are visiting Earth in an upper-level Air Force Academy physics textbook called Introductory Space Science Volume 2. Chapter 33, which was titled Unidentified Flying Objects and is rumored to have been written in part by 2 members of Project Blue Book, included a subsection titled Alien Visitors, in which they described the 4 species of aliens that have been reported. So now,
before we go any further, Hal Puthoff. I thought he was like in the CIA. I thought he was Condor or Falcon, him and Richard Doty. They were part of like this big disinformation campaign against people who were actually trying to look into UAPs and UFOs and other strange phenomena. They were actually trying to, at one point, they was giving people this information and they was like, yeah, it's real, but it was really not what the people was actually seeing, or it was maybe a figment of their imagination for real, but they were taking it and having them run with it. It was more or less like they was actually trying to get people to believe things that weren't true. So
let's compare what alien species the government currently thinks are visiting Earth versus what they thought in 1968. But first, I have to clarify that the alien species that Hal Puthoff is referring to has to be inferred from his relationship with Eric Davis, who let it slip during an interview several months ago. First, let's talk about the species that have withstood the test of time. The classic alien gray, which became infamous because of their involvement in the Betty and Barney Hill abduction case, were referenced in both the Air Force Academy textbook and today. Next, we have the Nordics, which in 1968 were basically described as essentially the same as Earthmen. But their description has become more refined over time and are now typically described as blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6 to 7 foot tall Swedish models. Now we'll address the differences between what they thought aliens were then versus what they think they are now. Today, the scuttlebutt is that the other 2 species that are visiting us are the insectoids, which are basically wimpy-sized praying mantises with similar proportions, but without the ability to dribble a basketball. And the other group is referred to as the reptilians, which of course are dinosaur-looking bipedal nightmares. Although the reptilians could be extraterrestrial in nature, the Solarian hypothesis proposes that they could represent a form of ancient advanced reptilian life that is native to Earth, which means they would actually be considered cryptoterrestrials instead of extraterrestrial.
So would that like give weight to them actually being living? Would that actually give weight to people thinking that the reptilians actually live inside of the Earth, if they're actually from Earth?
R.I.P. MacTonies. But in 1968, the remaining 2 species of aliens were much less intimidating. According to the Air Force Academy textbook, the most commonly described alien is about 3.5 feet tall, has a round head, possibly a helmet, arms reaching to or below the knees, and is wearing a silvery spacesuit or coveralls. Lastly, the rarest of the rare alien species could just as likely be found on the forest moon of Endor as Earth, because they were described as about 4 feet tall, weighing about 35 pounds, and covered with thick hair or fur. Members of this last group are also described as being extremely strong, which of course basically sounds like a lightweight version of an Ewok. In closing, when it comes to which alien species could be visiting us, I'll leave you with the conclusion of the Air Force Academy textbook. The best thing to do is keep an open and skeptical mind and not take an extreme position on any side of the question. Thanks for watching.
Good point. Maybe I should. All right. Hal Puthoff, though, he's one of those dudes that have been working, on the other side of the game for a long time. And for him now, him and Richard Doty, they pretty much like changed their position. I don't know if they're like retired or what it is, but when I watch stuff like the Y-Files and AJ Gentile says stuff like, usually when these people come and you already know that they are, a part of being deceptive, why would they come out now and say that they're not being deceptive anymore? You know what I mean? So whenever I see his name or the Hal Puthoff guy, whenever I see his name or Richard Doty, whenever I see those two guys, I automatically assume that something in the milk ain't clean. Okay, so I don't know, family. This is a hard one for me. The Ewok looking the extraterrestrials or the beings that they say that live here that look like Ewoks. I don't know. I haven't seen any reports of people saying that they saw them. People always say they see Bigfoot. They don't never say they see an Ewok. That's a new one on me. Okay, the reptilians we already known about. I could sit here and talk all day about the tall whites and how I think that is. I'm like over here and over here with it. So, but yeah, if you stayed to this point, family, thank you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, sharing. I'll get with you on the next one. Thanks again. Salute. Hey, it's Timu Morpheus. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, share. Hey, Trinity, you getting this?